Dr. Kendrick Carroll is the president and CEO of BSI Solutions, and he loves talking about business innovation and pioneering the connection between business and technology. It is his undeniable passion. He's 34, African American, and a successful black business owner. He joined me this week to discuss some innovative staffing solutions, the progress we've made in business innovation, and so much more. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. Absolutely. Dr. Carroll, if you're ready, I'll welcome you to the program, and I'm excited to talk with you this afternoon about business innovation. Great to be with you this afternoon, and thanks so much for being here.
Awesome. It's a pleasure.
So, Dr. Carroll, I'm curious if we can start by asking you all about BSI Solutions and the great work that you do and the mission of the company.
Yeah, so BSI Solutions, we're based here in Charlotte, North Carolina, but we service internationally, clients internationally. And our organization is really focused on innovation, true innovation. When we think about like blockchain, artificial intelligence, virtual reality, augmented reality, and we're also introducing quantum computing. And our organization really, for us, the main pillar for our organization is really to establish a true foundational innovation representation, starting here in Charlotte, but then expanding out. So we do innovation, but we also do staffing and some of the other activities like you may have seen some within the education space as well. But the core of our organization is on innovation.
And Doctor, I'm also curious to ask you about owning a successful business as an African American business owner. And whether you view yourself as a role model for other aspiring young African American entrepreneurs.
So and I saw that question. I think that's a very interesting question about whether I look at myself as a role model or more of an inspirational um, representative for the African American community. And for me, I would say I probably sit more inside of the inspirational perspective. And the reason why I say not so much of a role model, just from my perspective, is because I believe everybody has their own unique path, right? And I don't think that one person is going to be able to really tell you how to navigate your path. But the one thing I believe I'm able to do is inspire others to be able to go out and go on to that venture and face those different forms of adversities that they're going to come about. But it's to encourage them and inspire them to continue to push and persevere. But I don't think I will be able to give a person their a complete roadmap for their life. I can tell them what I went through and how I was able to reach success. But overall, for me as a role model, I think if I was to put myself in the category of a role model, I think I would probably do myself more. I think I would lead myself in a different in the wrong direction versus being more so just inspiration.
And if any young person is watching this, Doctor, what do you think is your message about pursuing excellence and staying committed to a task or a mission that a young person might have?
So, if my message to anyone that's aspiring to get into the entrepreneurial space or just really make a difference, I'm gonna say not just entrepreneur, just make a difference in the world using technology, I would just say it's not going to be an easy walk. There are going to be challenges. I don't believe anything is hard. I think life is whatever you make it of, but it's not going to be a cakewalk and be easy. So my word of advice to anyone is to continue to persevere. When the obstacle come upon you, don't retreat, but push through it, right? Break down those barriers to continue to challenge the norm and continue to push through it. And that's how we will begin to adopt and implement innovative technologies to use them in an effective way.
Doctor, I'm curious to get your thoughts on the ways in which we've sort of advanced when it comes to business innovation. What has you most excited about the future of business innovation, and how do you think the last year has propelled us to be more innovative when it comes to operating a business?
Yeah, I think innovation is here to stay, right? And I know a lot of people get some kind of concern and worry when they start thinking about artificial intelligence. And I always caveat that with saying that there's different forms of artificial intelligence. You got your artificial narrow intelligence, then you got your artificial super intelligence, which is where our ASI, artificial super intelligence, is where the computer and robots will have more emotional responses like a human. And that's the part that really concerns a lot of people. But when you think about it from just artificial intelligence or artificial narrow intelligence, that piece, it's been around for years, right? But different things like the pandemic, COVID, it has made us or forced us to accept innovation and start adopting it and utilizing it. Like for instance, virtual reality. That is a very powerful, very powerful mechanism or technology that can be utilized in various different industries, especially when it comes to training and rendering any type of visualization that you want to be able to interact with. But before COVID, it was more not so much. I don't really see the value behind it because it was never really forced to give it a shot. And what COVID has done, it has forced us to really start thinking in new, creative, and innovative ways of using technology. And so for me, I say over the last year, COVID has really propelled those companies and those personnel that are really big and pioneers of innovation. It's propelled them forward to continue to accept the new comings of the technology. And same thing with blockchain. It's here. Security. It's there for a reason. You can see it when you think about not just from a cryptocurrency perspective, but just looking at data security around. So these new technologies, they're here to stay. And so for me, we're very excited about it. We're very excited because we are making a bigger impact on our community and around the world.
Doctor, I'm also curious to know, as you know from doing a little bit of reading on me, I'm big on diversity, equity, and inclusion when it comes to individuals with disabilities and other minority groups. So my question in that regard is, how do you think businesses have made progress in sort of accepting or integrating people with disabilities into their workforce? And what more work do you see that still needs to be done in this area?
I love that question because I believe that we all have a disability. Everybody has a disability. And I think that is the one thing that to me, I believe is what really, truly, believe it or not, fosters innovation, right? It's because it gives you a different way of thinking through processes, thinking through your day-to-day activities, and bringing different minds together, regardless of what your disability is. That disability, in a sense, is turns into an enablement for you to be able to provide or create something new that's totally revolutionary to the market and how we operate. So for me, I believe and I challenge organizations to not retreat away or turn away from hiring, any person with disabilities, because once again, all of us have disabilities. I challenge everybody to start leveraging personnel with disabilities and continue to hire and actually leverage them and leverage that creativity, because everybody has a different way of operating. And it goes back to why I don't believe in myself being a role model. Everybody's different. Everybody has a different mindset and everybody faces different challenges. And one way a person, you may face challenges this way, and I would have thought about it this other way, but actually combining those two together, guess what? We just solved a problem that's going to be a solution for multiple people, not just one person in particular. So for me, I encourage it, and I think really leveraging it is really going to allow more creativity to continue to foster.
Yeah, doctor, just so that you know, I live my life by a motto of inclusion is the gateway to independence. I was actually born with what's called spastic quadriplegia cerebral palsy. So I've been overcoming obstacles and coming up with solutions to problems all of my life. So I appreciate that answer, and I want to thank you for sharing that. So
Yeah.
and Doctor, I'm also curious to ask you this question. I know that you have degrees in both business administration and computer science. So I'm curious to ask you, how do we get more young people interested in the computer science and business administration realm as well?
I think I think where we're at right now is we're getting there, but I think the biggest obstacle that we have to overcome, or that we have to start changing our minds on. Let's just take for instance the youth, right? As you just mentioned, the youth, right? When we think about the youth, most of the time you think about the youth, they're focused on gamification. They're focused on games, right? Using games, playing games. That's where their natural state of learning goes to, right? But it's not for them, it's not learning. It's fun, right? It's an interactive program that they can use and enjoy and play with their friends. What if you take that back for a second and dial it back and help the youth understand the connectivity, the connection between the games and computer science and just technology altogether? That is where the sweet spot comes in, right? It's sometimes kids don't understand that the things that they love the most, whether it's your mobile device, whether it's a video game, whether it's your tablet, your computer, everything that you're doing as technology is all based on, it has a computer science base. And so once we start helping educate them on that and really bringing the real world perspective to it, then students will start understanding and gravitating more towards the technology industry and in the computer science realm.
And I know that your personal passion is pioneering the connection between business and technology and then coming up with innovative solutions. So I'm wondering where your personal passion comes from for the work that you do as well.
So my initial passion came from just I would say my lack of ability to what it goes to my disability. My disability was I had a learning disability, and that was how I initially that was my biggest first challenge I really had to face. I had a learning disability, and for me, my comprehension wasn't high. It was very very low, and so for me, taking that challenge there and transforming that challenge just something that was going to propel me in a position to where I can help others regardless of what disability that they're facing, but allow them to be able to really stand on that disability, but stand on it with strength and pride, right? And so for me, that's where it started. And then once I really got into technology and I kind of understood what was happening, I had the ability to have a vision that to me is sometimes still shocking, to be able to see different things from different perspective that's far further out and be able to bring that into it. So for me, it was like, okay, well, if I can help, if I can help leverage someone else's inability or disability to do certain things and help them turn that into a strength, and I also can connect technology to them, because I didn't understand technology, but now I can help someone else understand it, and I can also bring business together. Well, bringing those three elements together will be able to give us a great environment to be able to just continue to propel and continue to foster in a positive manner. And so then from there, I just kind of just kept driving, and then start looking at other gaps within the industry and within the world that we wanted to fill. And for me, you mentioned diversity and inclusion. For me, I believe that, hey, let's work as a team. I don't believe in, only this person can do this person can do that. I believe in working as a team. So
Yeah, I always say that collaboration breeds success. Absolutely. So I'm also curious to get your opinion on business administration coming out of the pandemic in terms of how do we foster economic growth coming out of the pandemic, and what role do you see the government and entrepreneurs playing in that role as well?
I think from an economic standpoint, our just businesses all together is going to is going to have a major impact. Partnering with the government to really bring these different technologies to the forefront. I think everything is going to be on the premise of technology, because we don't know if a pandemic is going to happen again. Come January 1st of 2022. Right? We don't know what's going to happen. So for us, I think the lesson that we've learned, from an operational standpoint, not just businesses, but from the government, is that we truly do have to start adopting technology in the mass, right? And from that standpoint, I think technology is going to start helping drive all the different activities that we do on the government level, we do on the business level. And so that's going to be one of the major key factors in economic mobility and sustainability here in the US.
And Doctor, I'm curious to get. You talked earlier about how excited you are about the advancements in blockchain and artificial intelligence. I'm just wondering if you can dive into some more specifics as to what you're most excited about in this area.
Um, I think for blockchain, the thing that I'm most excited about, I know most people are excited about cryptocurrency and making some good money off of cryptocurrency. But I think for me, blockchain is more, I'm more excited about blockchain and the other usabilities of the solution itself, from data security to identity access management in various forms that blockchain is able to be utilized for. I think that's what I'm more excited about, those use cases. When it comes to artificial intelligence, just really, I'm looking forward to your computers being able to really do more, handle more. That's why quantum computing is coming into play. But I'm really looking forward to seeing all the different facets of models that AI is going to be able to bring to just how we operate on a daily basis, and how we as humans start to adopt it and accept it, right? And I think us accepting it and learning about it is going to, hopefully, it will dilute the fear of bringing it to the forefront. Once we educate ourselves more on, I think that would help dilute the concerns that we have with AI.
Doctor, my final question for you has to do with your own personal legacy and how you want your work to be defined when people look back on your life.
Man, so when I think about my legacy and where I'm at, my main thing is, I want people to be able to utilize my strengths, any of the barriers that I've broken, to open up and build a bridge for others to come across. It's not so much about Dr. Carroll was able to achieve this, Dr. Carroll was able to achieve this. The greatest thing that I think my legacy will really stand for is being a bridge builder for others to be able to come across and reach their success. And so that's what I truly believe, and I hope that my legacy will render and will show, is that I built a bridge for others to come across, and it doesn't matter what class, wealth, that background that you come from. It doesn't matter your race. It doesn't matter anybody. The only thing matters is your mindset and your tenacity and willpower to persevere and achieve and go after any goals that you want to accomplish. So for me, my legacy really is, I guess you could sum it up as a bridge builder.
Dr. Carroll, I really enjoyed our conversation, and I wanted to thank you for your insights and perspectives on business innovation and for joining us today here in Canada. It's most appreciated.
All right, no problem. Thank you so much, Kevin, for the time today.